right, I think we're just going to get right into this little painting. I know that many of you catch up later on and watch later, so I'm going to try to start as soon as I can instead of, blathering on forever. So, for this little guy, I'm really excited because I think this is going to be an example that looks... Let me just mute my computer so we don't get feedback. There we go. So I think this little guy is going to be better looking on the big canvas than on the sketch. So sometimes it looks better in the sketch, sometimes it looks better in the canvas. So I think this is going to be one that looks better on the canvas. So thanks for being here. This is one of our Jana Marie Foundation Wellness breaks. I'll be back here next Thursday for another Jana Marie Foundation Wellness break. I do not have a painting live on Tuesday of next week, and my schedule for June is not yet set in stone, so stay tuned for that. I've got my usual paint colors. I've got white and black and the primary colors, and I've got my usual big flat angled brush, and I'll probably move on to a smaller angled brush depending on how things go, and I have an even smaller one, so we'll see. All right, so to start, I'm just gonna cover this whole thing in white paint. Let's start easy. We'll just start by covering up the whole thing in white paint. I hope everyone is having a good day today on this Thursday afternoon. The weather is getting warmer. I'm actually in my office right now because I cannot do this at home because of construction. But I will say that my office is very hot right now because the AC is not on. But we are going to have fun with this little painting. So again, I'm just going to cover this whole thing here in white paint. Hey James Tierney, hey Jill. Doesn't have to be perfection. We're just covering this in white paint because we want to get our blend on in a moment. All right, so I'm going to move right along into our next step here. So what I want to do is I'm going to kind of plan out my sections here. So for me, I'm going to give myself a guideline for my waterline, which is about 3/4 of the way down, I would say. So I'm just going to go into just a smidgy little smooch of blue. And this is going to get covered over later, but it's just going to kind of give me a guide as to where things are going to be. So I'm just going to go right across where I want this water line to be. That might be a little bit higher than I wanted, so I'm just going to note to self, it's going to be down here, something like that. Okay, and I'm just kind of planning things out right now. I want my upper mountain, so I'm just going to do my gray background mountain back here, just to kind of give myself a sense of where things are. Okay, and I'm not gonna worry too much about the reflection right now, but I can if I want to just kind of give myself a plan here. So if you're just joining us, welcome. Thanks for being here on this Jana Marie Foundation Wellness break. If you're new here, welcome, first of all. But if you're not new here, Jana Marie Foundation does awesome stuff, as you might be aware of. So as a thank you to them for doing these awesome little wellness breaks, if you want to check out their Facebook page, go to their website and throw them a couple of dollars as a thank you for doing all this awesome programming for State College in Center County. So, And thanks to Jana Marie Foundation. This has been super fun painting with you guys these past months, we can say. All right, so just joining us, we've covered the canvas in white, and now I'm just kind of planning things out. I've given myself a waterline. This top line was I'm going to reject it, and I'm bringing my waterline down lower. I've given myself a line for my mountains there. And now I'm going to sketch out where these pink clouds are going to be, but I'm just still going to be using my blue paint, just a little smidgy spooch. And I'm just kind of planning out where I want this pink cloud to be. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just planning things out kind of so I know where things are generally going to be. I don't know if you can even see that I'm looking at the video on Facebook. There we go. There's a delay so I can see it. Yeah. So I've just kind of sketched out where that fluffy pink cloud is going to go. All right. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my white paint again and refresh my blue sky just real quick, just in case that white paint dried. Okay. And now I'm going to go actually up again because I want to make sure I get some good blend happening. So your white paint might be dry already. All right, so I kind of went over that white, I went over this area where the sky is blue. I went over that with white again. And now I'm going to mix a color to get some blendy blend. So it's actually blue here that I mixed in for this sky. There's a smidgy smooch of black so I can get kind of a gray blue. Because for this tone of the painting, I want it to be a bit muted, not like super bright, but maybe you want super bright. So if you want a bright, happy mood to this painting, I wouldn't add the black to make it gray, a gray blue. It's a very subtle thing. So happy birthday, Don Bedell. Thanks for watching. So I've got more of a gray blue happening here with that smidgy smooch of black. And then with that color, just very little color on my brush, I'm going to do a little blendy blend in with that white paint that's already there. I like it. And I did not have a lot of that pigment on my brush, and that's really all I needed because the white on my canvas will blend nicely with that little pigment that we've got going on. Ooh, I like that. So you might not be able to tell, but that is blue with a little smidgy smooch of black, and it just mutes that blue so it's not so bright. Because for me, this painting is kind of, it's serene and pretty, but also kind of moody. Yeah. So I toned down that blue with a little smidgy smooch of black. Now, if you've gone in guns blazing and you feel like, oh my gosh, I have too much blue or too much black, wipe off the excess paint from your brush, clean it off, grab some white, and go back over it to kind of blend out some of that pigment that you've got. That's fun. Okay, so, and then what you can do, if you want, maybe you say, you know, I don't think it's too dark, but I want some more brightness. So we can wipe off our excess paint. And I'm going to go back into white. And then with just straight white, I can kind of go back and blend in some areas that I want to be brighter and lighter and whiter. Like that. Right? Right. All right, let's take advantage of the blue that's on our brush. We still have some of this light blue, and let's take care of this reflection down here. Nothing fancy. I'm just going at the bottom of my canvas, just back and forth, just to get some of that color off my brush onto the canvas to show that we are indeed reflecting our sky down there. Okie dokie. Okie dokie artichokes. All right. Let's go ahead and wipe off any of that excess paint. Give our brush a good clean rinse, because I want to retouch this cloud in white so we can have fun with some of that pink peachy color that we're gonna do. So I've wiped off the excess paint, given my brush a good clean rinse. And in case you are new here, these do save automatically on the page that we're broadcasting from. So this will be in the Jana Marie Foundation videos for anybody who wants to check it out later. And I also have been downloading and uploading these videos to my YouTube playlist. So I will post that at some point later on in the day, and you can go there and see all the videos that I've been doing over these past few weeks. So clean brush, white paint, and I'm just gonna go over my clouds because I want to make sure I can get some awesome blending happening there. And I'm also gonna hit up my reflection so I can get that going up later too. All right, now let's have some fun mixing some colors. So, oh my gosh, woo, did I scare you? I scared myself. I almost knocked over my cup of water. Okay, so for this color, oh, this is gonna be fun because we're making a pink, but we're gonna add little smidgy smooches of yellow to it so it's kind of peachy, okay? And I'm gonna start really light at the top, and then I'm gonna get darker, as we go down. So I'm gonna start with a really, really light color. So I've got that brush, it's already full of white paint. I'm gonna give myself a little work spot here with some white paint, little smidgy smooch of red, little smidgy smooch of yellow. And I'm just working on a peachy pink that I feel good about. It doesn't have to be perfection. But again, I want to start out really light so I can get these little blends happening at the top of our cloud here. And I'm just kind of using circular motions here. This is a very delicate color that I've got myself, so that's good. And I'm just kind of holding my brush like I'm signing my name. Hey, Lori! And I'm just doing little circly circles. And that is super light, so I might want to go in and add a bit more pigment, but it's always good to start out light. In terms of color, we can always add more. It's harder to take it away. So I'm going to mix up a bit more pigment and go back in there. Ooh yeah, that's a bit more what I want. That's more like it. Okay. Here we go. Ooh, it's like cotton candy. Looking at the video on Facebook right now, just because of the lighting, it looks very pale. Maybe if I hold it up a bit more, it'll look darker. So I'm just gonna bring that down all the way to that mountain line. But now I do want to make a darker color, and kind of, we're just gonna add darker and darker levels of that color going down. So we have this sort of brightness around the crown of the cloud, and it gets deeper and darker as we get closer to the mountain. something like that. So now I'm going to focus not up to the edge anymore. I'm just going to kind of go down a bit. Ooh, that's fun. That's fun. Something like that. Ooh, and now with this color, I do want to get down into my reflection. So I'm just going to basically kind of clean off my brush down here in the reflection. Just horizontal streaks back and forth, just to show that we are indeed reflecting that fun cloud color down there. How about that? And I think I want to go one step darker. So we've got like light, medium, and dark. I've got light and medium, and now I'm going to work on my darker, deeper color there. Oh, Lori, I wonder if you're showing this off to your residents in their painting. I hope we get to see their paintings, their finished products. So yeah, please post your pictures of your paintings when you're done. I love seeing them. They make me super happy. Ooh, that's a weird color. That got kind of brown. Let me get some more red. Yeah, that went a little brown on me, so I'm just gonna mix up some new stuff down here. That's better. That's better. Something like that. Yeah? All right, so if you're joining us late, we covered our canvas in white paint completely. We kind of sketched out our mountain and our water line down here, and we blended in some blue with a smidgy smooch of black at the top into our sky. We made sure that we hit it up on the bottom to show we're reflecting down there, and then we mixed our peachy red, white, and yellow peachy color clouds, made sure we reflected that down here. And yeah, so basically we've got our sky, and we've got our sky reflected into our water right now. Okay. So for our next step, we're going to work on these gray purpley mountains in the background, and we're going to reflect them down in here. And really the easiest thing to do is to just cover this whole thing, this whole band in that purpley gray color, okay? And it might help, guys, if you have trouble with reflections and symmetry, it might help to turn your painting like this, and you can it's kind of easier to do symmetry when it's kind of up and down like this instead of like this. So at any rate, I'm going to mix kind of a purpley gray. I'm going to wipe off my glop of paint here. I mean, that won't hurt my purpley gray at all, but it's kind of helpful to clean your brush a bit. So I'm gonna go into some blue. I didn't wash my brush, but I just got off the excess paint. Into some blue, into some red, to get some purple happening here. I want to grab a little touch of black, little smidgy smooch of black, so we can get kind of a gray purple. That looks a little too blue, so I'm going to add a little touch of red. Actually, I'm going to mix a lot more color. I'm going to need a lot more than that. So let's get that rolling. A little touch of black. Let's see, is that, ooh, that's super purpley. We're almost there. Let me grab some more white. Smidgy smooch of black. You're just kind of working on whatever color suits your fancy. Everyone's is going to be a little different. That might be more on the money. Let's see what happens. I don't know. Okay, so again, why don't we turn it like this so we can get good at our symmetry here. So here's my mountain over here. Okay, and then I can kind of mimic it on this side. Something like that. And then I can just fill it in. Let's just fill that bad boy in. Make our lives easier. Definitely gonna need to make more color. Getting down to the bottom of the barrel here with that color. I'll have to mix some more. I like it. How's everybody doing out there? Hope we're doing good. I am sweating in this office. Nothing like that bead of sweat dripping down your back. All right, I need to make some more of that color. See how light and sketchy that got? It's because I did not make enough paint. I'm just gonna whip up some more of that. See if I can get it back right. Even if it's not perfectly identical, we'll do our best. And I'm just gonna fill that in. Ooh, that got blue. That got super blue. So again, if I'm going too fast or you miss something, this will be saved on the Jana Marie Foundation video section, and I'll also download and upload it to my YouTube playlist where all my videos are, so you can watch when you have the time. When you have the time to paint, playlist is always there. Da-na-na-na-na-na. How about that, folks? I kind of like that. It's different. It's different from the sketch here, but I kind of like it. I kind of like it. Okay, now let's do that landmass that's right along the bank. That's right on the edge of our water line here. Okay. So first, I'm gonna find that water line again. So I'm just going to go into my black paint. I don't have to wash my brush. I'm going to find that water line again. It's a little bit lower than center. Okay, so you can see, maybe see it here, that the water line is a little bit lower than center with the mountain. So I'm going to go right about here. Something like that. And again, if it's helpful, you can kind of turn your painting this way to help get the symmetry right. So this is the hump where that tree is going to sit. So I'm going to go up here a little bit. Something like that. And we just kind of do a little symmetry down here. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you get the idea. Kind of flip that over, and then I can just fill that in. Fill that in with the black paint. Like so. Ooh, get in the frame there. All right. Gotta finish that up, fill that in. right. Looking good, folks. I can feel it. I can just feel it through the air. All right, I think I'm going to retire this brush. I'm going to move to a smaller one. So I'm going to wipe off any excess paint, give that brush a good clean rinse. All right. Whoops. Knocking into my setup here. All right, so I'm going to retire that big brush and completely cover my paper towel in paint. All right, I'm going to move to this smaller flat angled brush, and that's what I'm going to use for my tree trunk and branches. Okay, so I'm going to just pull that trunk out from this little hill that it's sitting on, and I'm going to use that flat brush. I'm going to use the width of the brush as the width of the tree trunk, maybe make it a little bit bigger. But I'm just moving that brush back and forth in my plate. And I think it lives right about here. Forgot to do my tree trunk noise. It's like shunk. All right. And I'm going to, again, move that brush back and forth in my plate to get a good edge. And then now with the edge, I can sort of start pulling up branches. And you can have as many or as few branches as you wish. This is your tree, this is your painting. This is where I kind of go silent because I get so distracted because I love painting trees. I love painting branches. Hope everybody's doing well out there as we are in the middle of May. Can you believe it? Oh, we're past the middle of May. What am I talking about? What is today's date? The 21st. 3/4 of the way through in May. It's crazy. All right. I'm not going to go too crazy with branches because we are going to be kind of tapping in, tap, tap, tap for our foliage, and a lot of that will get covered up anyway. But if you want, you can kind of pull up little grasses. Like I have some grass coming up here on the left side. It's totally up to you. You might want to pull grass out all the way over. And then you might want to pull out some grass in the reflection. Speaking of reflection, let's pull that tree trunk down into our water. Like that. Okay. And as you can see here, I've got some black squiggles coming in and out to show the ripples. So we can do something like that. Doesn't have to be perfect or, precise. People will get the idea. All right, so we've got our trunk, we've got our branches down. I've pulled up some grass. I've pulled down some grass in our reflection, pulled down the trunk in our reflection, pulled out some little squiggles to show our water is rippling, and we'll add some more ripples later. But for now, let's think about our foliage on our tree. So what I like to do is just with whatever brushes I have, you can kind of play with how stamping them will give you different effects. And I just like using my brush as a stamper to see what kind of effects I can get with it. So I'm just going to use my brush as a stamp. Just going to tap, tap, tap. And I'm using very little paint at first to get these very soft, kind of lighter bunches of foliage. And as I usually say, don't worry about putting foliage exactly where branches are. I'm going to be tapping foliage where there's no branch at all, because we can't possibly see all the branches through the leaves. Okay, so I'm just going to use still using this little angled brush, but I'm going to tap it on its corner to get some foliage to happen for me. And I can kind of turn the brush around to get different shapes and effects. But I like using a kind of almost like a dry brush technique, meaning there's not a lot of paint on the brush, and seeing kind of these lighter things happen. I will grab some more paint on my brush. And that came out dark. That's okay. Just tapping. So especially here, like there's really no branches kind of hanging out here, but I'm going to put foliage there anyway, assuming that we can just not be able to see all the branches at any given time. And you can have as many or as few little boughs of foliage as you wish. Totally up to you. I think I'm going to keep building this up here. Fun. Kind of imagining this tree going all the way up over there over the top of the canvas. All right. Something like that. And for me, I don't think my foliage is getting reflected in the water. I think the tree would be reflected too far forward and it's off the canvas. But maybe you have some foliage in your reflection as well. So what we have happening in the sketch here is that some of this foliage kind of mixes and mingles with these birds that are kind of coming in the distance. So at one point it's like, is it leaves or is it birds? So I'm just going to kind of pull some of that foliage up into the sky a little bit, and then I'm going to move quickly to a smaller brush that I can start drawing in these wee little birds. Let me bring this up close here. So these were done with just like the stamp of my brush, and now I'm getting this smaller brush here, and I can kind of start drawing these birds and have the birds get bigger and bigger as they get farther and farther from the tree. Something like that. Is it a bird? Is it a leaf? It's definitely not Superman. Something like that. All right. Folks, we are just cruising through this painting. I hope I'm not going too fast. But again, you can always go back to the Jana Marie Foundation videos and see this video there. Also, I've been downloading and uploading them to my YouTube playlist. So you can check it out later. You can watch it as many times as you want and kind of go over it if you missed something or I went too fast. But we are not done yet. We have to work on these ripples, ripple lines, and then we'll put in our sun or moon or whatever that thing is. All right, so I need to wash this brush nice and clean. I want to use this smaller angled brush to get a nice line, a nice edge for these ripples. So wipe off that excess paint. I'm going to give my brush a nice good clean rinse. A nice good clean rinse in my gray paint water. That should be fine. Tap off the water. Get off as much water as I can here. All right, so now I'm going to work on these water lines and ripples. Okay, I'm going to start with white paint. Okay, and I'm going to use that edge on my flat angled brush. So I'm just going to grab some white paint, working it back and forth in the plate so I can get an edge, something kind of resembling an edge. Absolutely, Diana. I can't wait to see what you do with it later on. So make sure you show those pictures. So yeah, don't forget, Diana, that it will be available on the Jana Marie Foundation page in the video section. All right, so I've got that white on the edge of that angled brush, and I'm just going to rock back and forth horizontally with the tips of that brush. So it's I'm perpendicular to my canvas. The tips of those bristles are on the canvas, just the tippity tips. And I'm just going to go back and forth horizontally to kind of sketch in this water line. So this is the water line right on the bank, right on the edge. Okay. So the idea behind rocking it back and forth is that it's not a perfect like straight line across. Yeah, paint 100 of them. They're all there, ready for you. So you don't want like a stripe of white across. We just want that kind of really light, sketchy, scratchy line there. And I'm gonna grab some more white paint, and I'm just gonna kind of do the same thing, but I'm gonna do it in the water. Oh, there goes my paint. I dropped my plate on the floor, but it landed paint side up. Woohoo. Okay, so we're good. I'm going to take that same idea, and I'm just going to rock back and forth in my water. And isn't that magic? It just sort of makes the water kind of appear in front of our eyes. So again, that's just the tippity tips of that brush, just the tippity tips, and I'm just kind of going back and forth to get some of these horizontal lines happening. Okay, now what we can also add is some grays and blues in that same way to add a little bit more depth and texture to those ripples. So I'm going to have that white on my brush. I'm going to kind of make a blue-gray, I guess. Actually, maybe a purpley gray to kind of reflect those mountains. So same idea. I'm going to add a little bit more red there, why not? Just kind of rock back and forth with some of these horizontal lines just to give it bit more texture. Cool. Something like that. Now, with a nice clean brush, I'm going to put in my little sun that's shining through those clouds magically. And then I'm going to do my reflection of the sun. So I got a clean brush. I'm going to grab some white paint. And my sun is right here. Just going to put that in there. I might have to do another coat. Let that dry, get another coat so it's nice and bright. But now that I've got my sun, I need to reflect it down in my water. So I'm just going to make sure I've got some good bits of white in there to show that the sun is reflecting there. You can kind of add some little dots and smudges. Something like that. Oh, and you might not be able to see that because of the lighting. Let's see. Is that better? Let's see. There's a delay, so I'm waiting to see it happen on the video here. The lighting's not that much better. Okay, but you get the idea. You get the idea. And again, I might want to let that dry a bit and then go give it another coat to make it nice and white and bright. Alrighty, folks. I think I'm ready to stick a fork in this one. I might play around with some more rosy pinks on the sides here. Yeah, that's a bit more like it. Cool. Yeah, I like this one. I love that. That water line is straight out of Bob Ross. He used to do it with a paint palette knife. And it's just that horizontal, those horizontal lines, just, it's kind of magic. It creates water right before your eyes. All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining me. I kind of went through this quickly, but please go back to the Jana Marie Foundation Facebook page. This video will be saved there in their video section. I'll also add it to my YouTube playlist. Thank you so much to Jana Marie Foundation for having me and for doing all these awesome videos. They've been really keeping us busy online through this time. So if you you're able to, throw them a couple of dollars on their donation page, which is on their website, janmariefoundation.org. And I hope you guys enjoy this. Show me those pictures when you're done. I love it. It brings me so much joy to see what you guys create. And I hope you guys have a great day. I will see you in a week. So I'm not doing a Tuesday painting next week on my own page, but I will be back here, Jana Marie Foundation, next Thursday, 2 o'clock, and then we'll figure out the June schedule. We'll see how it goes. Alrighty, everybody. Have a great day. This is Jackie from Paint with Jackie, and I'll see you next time.